All right, so I am giving you some hints on the Chapter 2 Assignment 6, and we're actually going to cut some problems off of this, so please make sure you pay attention. All right, here we go. Number 1. Folks, I need your attention, please. We got a table here, and this table contains 2 points. One more time. Please stop the side conversations. Thank you. This table contains 2 points. Here's a point here that has an x and a y coordinate, and here's another point right here that also has an x and a y coordinate, except they only gave us half of the coordinates for each point. And they give us an equation. How are we going to find the other coordinate for each of those points? Well, I'm going to show you. What we're going to do is we're going to use the equation that we have, and we'll use the value that we have. This one's a y value. So I'm going to rewrite this equation, but what am I going to put in place of y when I write this equation? I'm going to put 0 in place of y. They're telling us that the y is 0. So rewrite this equation. It's x minus 2y equals 4. But notice I've left the y out because what am I sticking in place of that y? 0. Now, the way I'm going to find x is I'm going to just solve this equation. So let's start by simplifying. What is 2 times 0? X minus 0 equals 4. Do we need to do anything to solve this? X minus 0 is just x, isn't it? So x is 4. So there we go. We've got our x coordinate. X is 4. How do you suppose we're going to find the y value in our second point? We're going to turn the x into a 0 this time. So same equation that we were using before. I'm rewriting it. This time I'm leaving the x out, though. And in place of that x, we're going to put 0. All right, let's simplify that. 0 minus 2y is just negative 2y. And this time we need to do one quick step of algebra to get y by itself. We could divide on both sides to make that negative 2 go away. Negative 4, or 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. So y is negative 2. All right, now they want us to graph this line. We've never graphed an equation that looks like this before, but that's okay because we have 2 points. So just graph those 2 points and grab your ruler and connect them with a line. So one of my points is 4, 0. 4, 0 would be right here. And my other point is 0, negative 2. 0, negative 2 is right there. And 2 points is all I need to make a line. Now, I did not leave you much space to do the second one, but there's a little bit of space on the other side of the graph. So you're going to do the same thing over here. You've just got a different equation this time. I'm going to set it up for you, but I'm not going to actually work through the whole thing. So 3x plus 6y equals 24, except I left the y out because we know what y is. Spoiler alert, it's 0. And then once I solve for x, then I'll come back and do the same thing with the equation, but this time I'll leave the x out. And I'll put a 0 in for x. You're going to end up with another line. You'll just graph it on the same axis as this one. Okay, I want to give you some more hints. So I want to pause here for a second just for you to get this first step written down, but then I want you to stop and look up here and get some more hints on this assignment. And don't forget, I'm going to chop some problems off here, and you don't want to miss that part. On number 71, you can do this using the formula, or I taught you an alternate way of doing this last class. If you weren't here last class, make sure you pay attention to this. Okay? The alternate way of finding slope between 2 points is to stack the points on top of each other. And then use that to figure out what's your change in x and your change in y. This would be my change in x over here, and this would be my change in y. So for part A, what is my change in x? How do I get from 1 to 4? Positive or negative? Plus 3. How about my change in y? What's my change in y? How do I get from 2 to negative 1? Minus 3. Cool. Then to find the slope, slope is change in y over change in x. So for us, for this problem, it would be change in y is negative 3, change in x is 3, and we would simplify that. Negative 3 divided by 3 is just negative 1 for our slope there. All right, number 72 is the problem that I'm cutting off. You may skip number 72. If you want some practice with fractions, go ahead and do it, but you do not need to do that problem. The rest of it's pretty straightforward. Please make sure you're giving me your explanations for 74. Don't forget this part. Folks, the rulers belong in that wooden box in the back of the room. Could you please